This is not a hype video. It is not a fear-based rant either. This is my truthful review of Demons of Magick by Gallery of Magick, based on my own lived experience working directly with the spirits in this book. If you are here looking for someone to either glorify or demonize this path, that's not what this is. This is about what really happened when I did the rituals, what the spirits showed me, and the unexpected message they delivered. I'm sharing this from the lens of a feminine mystic, someone who lives in deep relationship with energy, intuition, and the unseen. Now, I've worked with multiple Gallery of Magick books, and I'll be doing reviews on those too in separate videos, because each one carries its own frequency. Today, we are talking about the one that people either whisper about or dive into without knowing what they are opening. So, what drew me in? Honestly, it was a mix of curiosity, trust, and timing. I already had some success with the Gallery of Magick methods. I respected their system. And at the time I opened this book, I was in a phase where I wanted results. Faster, deeper, more direct. I was clear on my intention. I wasn't dabbling. I approached it with respect. I read the book cover to cover. I took time choosing which spirit to work with. I followed the rituals by step, and when I called, they answered. So, what actually happened when I began working with the spirits in Demons of Magick? First, let me say this. They showed up. There was no doubt in my mind that these spirits are real. I didn't feel afraid. I didn't feel haunted. If anything, what I felt was presence. Clean, precise, and potent. They came when I called, and they came respectfully. There was no chaotic energy, no spiritual backslash, no Hollywood-style darkness. Soon after, things started to shift, and not in ways I expected. At first, it was subtle. I began to notice small breakdowns in my everyday life. My car started having strange electrical issues that made no sense. Communication with people I love suddenly felt off, like the energy in the room was crackling. Technology glitched. Recordings failed. Files disappeared. I would try to speak or write, but the clarity just wasn't there. And energetically, I felt heavy, disoriented, like I was carrying something that didn't belong to me. Still, it wasn't fear. It was something deeper. A kind of pressure in my field, a tightening in my nervous system. This sacred pause that said, slow down and listen. Something is trying to speak to you. And what I heard wasn't verbal. It came through experience. The message I received, clear as day, was this. We will deliver what you asked for, but before we do, Are you sure you're willing to pay the price? It wasn't a threat. It wasn't punishment. It was truth. You see, the demons were not reckless. They were intelligent. They were direct and deeply aware of my spiritual path. They met me with clarity and they matched my energy. And because I come from the path of the feminine embodiment of softness, receptivity, surrender, they didn't bypass that, they honored it. I believe they could have delivered what I asked for, absolutely. But they paused first and they gave me a choice. You came with ego, with urgency. You want to control. Are you sure that's the energy you want to manifest with? They were not testing me, but they were teaching me. Teaching me about power, about the void, about what it really means to call something in through the dark magic. And by dark, I don't mean evil. I mean the primordial void, the place of raw, unfiltered potential, the dark womb of creation where nothing is sugar-coated and everything costs something. They were willing to do their part, but they wanted to make sure I knew what that part would require of me. This part right here is where everything shifted for me. Because I wasn't just doing magic, I was feeling it. I wasn't just reciting words, I was reading energy. And as someone who is deeply attuned to the divine feminine, I could sense something most people might miss. The energy of the Demons of Magick is not inherently dark in a negative way, but it is dense. It's structured, commanding, masculine in design. It is about evocation, authority, direct control. And that's not bad. It just wasn't me. Because the feminine path I walk is different. I don't demand, I invite. I don't control, I co-create. I don't use force, I embody frequency. So when the spirits showed up respectfully, I could feel that the energy I was using to work with them was out of alignment. And that's exactly what they reflected back to me. They were not trying to overpower me. They were meeting me where I was. And where I was in ego. I was manifesting from urgency, not embodiment. And because I am so energetically sensitive, I didn't just feel the rituals, I felt the ripples. I could sense the quiet dissonance between my sacred feminine and the commanding structure of the work. And to their credit, they didn't bypass that. If anything, they paused, they waited, and they asked, is this really how you want to manifest? They didn't try to override my softness. They didn't pressure me to keep going. They let me feel it, all of it. And that's when I realized, just because something works doesn't mean it is aligned. And just because power is available, it doesn't mean it's meant for me in that moment. So I sat with that and I chose to listen, not out of fear, but out of integrity. So I made a decision. I thanked the spirits, I honored the experience, and I let it all go. Not because I was scared, not because anything terrible happened, but because my peace matters more than proof. My nervous system told me everything I needed to know. My inner voice, the one I've spent years learning to trust, wasn't silent. It was whispering. You're reaching outside of yourself for something you already hold within. And I realized something even deeper. I don't want to manifest from force. I don't want to manipulate outcomes. I don't want to conjure power just because I can. That's not the path I'm walking anymore. I want to work with energies that honor my softness, that match my depth, that understand presence and not pressure is my true vibration. So I said to the demons, no, thank you. And I closed the door. And here's the most beautiful part. They respected that. They didn't linger. They didn't retaliate. They simply said energetically, we understand, no pressure. If you ever truly need us, you know where to find us. And then they left with grace. And in that moment, I understood something sacred. Power doesn't always come from how loudly we speak. Sometimes it comes from how softly you walk away. So let's talk about the question that everyone always wants to know. Did I get my manifestation? Not exactly, but I don't think it was denied. I think the spirits paused, they leaned in and asked, are you sure? Do you fully understand what you're asking for? Are you truly willing to carry what comes with it? Because here is the truth that most people won't tell you. They will deliver. They showed up for me. I felt their power, their presence, their clarity. But they also met me with a sacred mirror. This isn't just a spell. This is a transaction. And we want to make sure you are aware of the exchange. And for someone like me who's tuned in, sensitive, living in alignment with the divine feminine, I got the message before the manifestation. And honestly, that message was the gift. Because I had forced it. Had I moved forward just to get what I wanted, I would have paid a price that, for me, was too high. Not because I'm weak, but because I'm awake. Would I work with them again? Well, let's just say this. I didn't burn the book. I still have it. I still respect it. I still respect them. Because they didn't disrespect me. They didn't override my consent. They gave me a choice, and when I said no thank you, they bowed and walked away. But here is the thing. If I ever feel threatened, if someone ever tries to manipulate me energetically, if I ever sense that someone is doing magic on me, you better believe I would consider calling on them again. Working with demons is like having a loaded gun. You don't show it off. You don't play with it. You don't use it just to feel powerful. But if someone breaks into your house at 3 a.m. and the police are taking too long, it's good to know who to call. They are not your friends. They are not your therapist, but they are powerful and they are loyal to the laws of magic. If you approach with respect, they'll respond with clarity. But if you approach with ego, be ready to hold what you conjure. So, here is what I want to leave with you. Yes, Demons of Magick works. Yes, the spirits will show up. But the question isn't can you work with them? The question is from where are you calling them? Is it from truth? Is it from alignment? Is it from power grounded in presence? Or is it from ego, urgency, or trying to force reality into shape? Because that is exactly what they are going to reflect back to you. And to their credit, they met me exactly where I was. They didn't push, they didn't punish, they simply offered. And when I declined, they honored my no as sacred. And that's how you know you are working with real power. It doesn't try to control you, but it gives you a choice. So if you're considering walking this path, do it with respect. Don't dabble, don't manipulate, and don't forget who you are while you're holding that kind of energy. And if you are someone who walks the sacred feminine path, like me, soft, embodied, intuitive, you don't have to fear this book. But you do need to know your frequency. You do need to know your boundaries. And you do need to know what you are willing and unwilling to carry. Because magic is not about getting what you want, it is about becoming someone who can hold it once it arrives. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. Whether you've worked with the book or just been curious about it, I'm here for honest, conscious conversations. And if you want to learn more about how to manifest through the feminine, through softness, magnetism, ritual, and embodiment, I got free rituals and offerings for you at hisdivinefeminine.com. Remember, you don't have to force the universe to listen. You just have to learn how to speak that language. I love you. Stay sacred, and I'll see you in the next one. Namaste.